Yo, good luck with editing. What you gonna get?
Hello, I'm Nathan. I'm in the Strategy and International Business pathway at the George Business School. I'm in my third year of PhD, and my research focuses on organizational style, the process and performance approach of style in the fashion industry. Seun.
I'm Seun. I am affiliated with the Department of Genetics and also the Cambridge Stem Cell Institute. I'm in my third year of my PhD out of 4, and I am at Darwin College, and my research focuses on understanding how cells make decisions during development, and I'm working in context before and after gastrulation.
Well, I'm very fascinated by contemporary art. I spend a lot of my time looking at art, some aspects of contemporary art. I like the fashion industry. I always like to do window shopping virtually.
What windows are you shopping at?
If there's anything like that, so I browse through fashion catalog, trying to find the best deal, understanding different collections. I was also privileged to be the president of the African Society, the past president, and so that took a lot of my time, bringing the community together, trying to feel very welcome in Cambridge, and tapping into each other's cultural experiences and sort of engendering opportunities for growth. And yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster of an experience for me, and and I'm hoping that as time goes on, I can delve into some other activity like punting and get a bit more adventurous with my leisure activity.
I'm at Darwin. We get free punts, so I can hook you up.
Fair enough.
Similar to Nathan, not part of external society. I am a student rep at the Cambridge Stem Cell Institute, and that involves me being part of the student committee to organize events and just kind of go out of the way to bring students who are PhD and masters together. So we do away days, we do symposiums, stuff like that. External to research and science, I do like to spend my time watching K-dramas when I can, and alongside that, learning and exposing myself to new cultures and languages. I think it's a conscious effort because I think my default is to kind of involve myself very much in my research, and if I don't tell myself to leave the lab, I will be there till 10 every day. So I do like to kind of take that conscious effort to establish or set dates up with people, with friends, so that takes me out of the lab. And I think kind of being involved in different communities. So I'm part of the Cambridge Black Postgrad Society, and I also have kind of little communities outside of my research that really takes me out of that mindset. And I think what I've found really empowering with that is sometimes stepping away from research, you're still thinking about stuff at the background, and when you come back you have a refreshed mindset and you actually are going to progress further than you would just staying in there and kind of getting burnt out, and that's not really sustainable. So yeah, I do try to make a very conscious effort to fill up my schedule with other things apart from science.
How do you refresh yourself? What do you mean by refresh?
So for me, people don't believe this, I'm actually quite introverted.
I don't believe that.
I really am. I really need.
That's not what I've experienced. I'm sorry. But go on, we're listening.
Wow.
Let's be honest here. Go on.
I am being honest. How do you know me more than me? So okay, I am an introverted person. Most people find it hard to believe, but I am. And for me, refreshing my batteries is kind of actually staying away from people. That sounds counteractive, but for example, there'll be some weekends that I am a ghost, no one knows that I exist, and then the next weekend people realize that I'm around, and that's how I like to kind of do that.
I mean, I'll tap into a few things she said about delving into a lot of activities and engaging with friends. I think at first when I started Cambridge, I was there was this sense of urgency in making my family proud and doing well and living up to expectation, and balancing out some of the deficits in my skills, and being the best, until I started realizing that the full part of the experience is everything that comes with Cambridge, both the formals, the events. That is the PhD experience. It's a roller coaster. It takes time for you to understand that it also includes adventures. It also includes meeting people, building networks, going for conferences, and so creating the balance starts from perceiving the full experience as part of a PhD experience rather than just the academics. And when you can see that way, you're able to create the categorical imperatives necessary. Because as a PhD student, there are times where you have deadlines, where things get more intense. There are times where it slows down. There are times when you have to collect your data. There are times when you're preparing for conferences. So during the times it's really slow, you can take those time out to experience Cambridge, party, meet exciting people who are very introverted.
Go partying.
And overall have a really good time. So
damn, Nathan! Wow.
Yeah.
Can I read you my answer? What he said.
Exactly.
So for me, I think I had a slightly different introduction into being a Cambridge student, mostly because I was actually working as a staff member in the university for about 3 years before I started. So for me, the transition, like even just the mental shift from being a staff to a student, like it took me, I guess, almost that first year as a PhD student. One thing that I immediately realized was actually the impact or the importance of colleges. For me, like I could see the purpose of having the college system in boot, especially for new students, right? Like you would come into a new place and you're trying to meet new people. It's a very nice kind of insulated way to kind of get you exposed to different people, or different students who are doing different courses within your college. So for me, starting as a student was slightly different in the sense that I didn't think I needed that, but looking back now as a third year student to my first year as a student, I think that's something that I should have engaged a lot more in and take advantage of, the societies and colleges and stuff like that. So I think I would advise students who are joining Cambridge to really plug into your college and really use them as a resource and as a way for you to get involved into Cambridge life and feel settled, especially in the first couple of months.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I really agree with the college experience. It does have its ups and downs though. Cambridge feels like multiple states in one big institution. Different colleges already are some sort of, should I use the word supreme? They're unique entities with their unique cultures, and so sometimes you can see people in diverse disciplines all around Cambridge and you might never meet them because they are stuck in another side of the city with your college mates, and so sometimes that can be a bit challenging because it would be nice to meet more people that are outside the confines of your college. But I think the best part was having a very supportive supervisor. She believed in me from the start, which I told her many times that I don't deserve this kind of faith she has in me. But I remember when she called me, I think she called me an insecure overachiever, because there was this desperation to sort of prove myself, prove my value, and prove my worth. And I think that sometimes made me detach myself from communities that would have helped me grow. And so I think the mental shift was necessary, like she said, in embracing people and knowing that sometimes when you're in Cambridge, because you're a high performing student, I'm not speaking for all, as a high performing student you might have some social deficits at the start because you believe that the performance and the academic performance is the central core of your nature, and as a black student here, you would want to prove yourself all the time. So sometimes it makes you detach from networks that could have helped you, whether it's your mental well-being or your welfare. So you know, ultimately my supervisor was great in helping me realize these things, but until I started really connecting with people here, I never really had a good experience, and I'm glad that, you know, I'm able to meet people that inspire me, like Seun.
Ditto.
I would not. I'll speak about the good sides of, you know, Seun, you know, so that inspire me, drive me towards success all the time.
There's only good parts. We'll keep it there. But I will actually tag on to that. When you talk about that desperation to prove yourself, I think that is something I think is a rite of passage coming to Cambridge, that you're going to experience that. As a student, I still, like, transitioning from a staff to a student, I experienced that, but coming into Cambridge as a staff, the first 6 months I was in over my head. I was the only black person in my institute. I felt like, you know, I had to not just prove to myself but to prove to other people that, oh, someone who's black in research can achieve these things. So I think it really is a rite of passage. And again, jumping on what you said about making sure you're conscious of engaging with communities or networks or supporting bodies that just give you a space outside of that. And I think that's one thing I actually appreciate with, like, the Cambridge Black Postgrad Society. I mean, Sam and I are both on there, and literally Sam and I have never spoken about our research to each other, and we're both scientists in Cambridge. And I love that about the I guess friendship or that kind of relationship interaction that we have, that it really is then a different space that I'm not then always on thinking about, oh, how am I going to communicate my work to someone else. I mean, when I want to, I am, and people say I'm very passionate about the work, but I think it's really nice to just have that, like, different spaces where you can engage with different aspects of who you are as a person. Right, so, like, when Nathan is making fun of the fact that I like K-dramas because
continue.
Just because I'll just let it just hang in the hair, just hang.
That was a shock to me, the K-drama part.
Really? It's kind of a big part, but I speak Korean.
It would take me a couple of days to process that, but
why?
we'll discuss that outside the camera.
Yeah,
we'll discuss the details of that.
Quenchana. There's a lot, and actually, as a third year PhD student, yikes, there's now kind of the expectation, opportunities for me to go to different conferences, to share my work, to engage with other scientists. Towards the end of last year, so kind of midway through my second year, I actually went to a summer school in Greece, Spetsis, and that was about stem cells, regenerative medicine, and I got to interact with other PhD students from literally all over the world, and that was a great opportunity. So I think when it comes to developing yourself as a researcher, there's a lot of opportunities, and there's also scope for funding. So of course, as a student with your scholarship, you get money allocated that allows you to go to conferences, international, nationally, but within the department. So over at biochemistry, which is going to be my degree awarding department, they also have like awards that you can apply for to get like some pockets of money to fund you going to conferences that maybe your actual allocated funding would not be able to cover. So there is all of that, and at least within my institute, there's also opportunities to present your work to the people that you work with, like within the institute. As I said, as I'm a student rep, there's also opportunities during through the symposiums for us to share our work. So there's a lot of different scopes, and I think it's one of those things where you get as much as you give. Like, as willing as you are to put yourself out there, you are going to have the platform and the audience and people who are eager to hear about your work. So I think it's really important and should be at the forefront of your mind to really engage with those different communities. And I think on top of that, you want to also engage with the community outside of Cambridge, because I think Cambridge is great. There's a lot of research, really great research that's going on, but I think sometimes it can get quite insular. So I think it's also important to make that kind of conscious step to engage with research within your field that's happening outside of Cambridge, just to just to keep yourself on top of what's going on?
One of the epiphanies I had was the realization that there is a difference between an imposter syndrome and a skills deficit. And so when I started in Cambridge, there's always going to be the feeling that I'm not good enough, the feeling of probably an imposter here, how did I get here? But it's about knowing that yes, you deserve to be here, but to stay here, you need to improve your skills, because you're in the big leagues now. You are contributing to the actual conversations in your field. And I remember this very clearly when I would be having a chat with my supervisor, and we'll cite an author, and she'll be like, oh, I had coffee with this person. Oh, I met this person at the last conference. Oh, this person is my friend. And she told me when I wanted to start my research that I should go find my seats at the table, because I wanted to do a research on the film industry, which was just to build upon her research. And when I was reading through a couple of research, I found this article called Style in the Fashion Industry by a professor who is based at INSEAD Business School. And I read it. I said this was what I was going to do. This was interesting. And 3 years down the line, that professor has invited me for a conference in his business school and wants to give me a visiting fellowship. And I think the 3 years between that, developing that paper that got him aware or hear about me, is what made me realize that developing your skills, whether it's through qualitative interviewing or your academic writing skills, how to better write a conceptual paper, how to link papers together, how to calibrate your research within a certain field while still conversing with every other scholar, how to engage in scholarly debates, how to ensure that people within your field can also tap into your research and use it to develop theirs. And so these skills, I needed to learn them while I got here, while still feeling like I deserve to be here. So at the end of the day, if a person can be able to realize that there is a difference between a skills deficit and an imposter syndrome, and knowing how to develop that, Cambridge is the great place. It's one of the greatest places to engage with people in your field that are having the real conversations and creating the real change and driving real innovation forward. This is a very big question, because for all my life I have always figured out the next 15 years or the next 10 years, but in this time it's difficult to really figure out what I would do, because the targets I have are very competence-based targets. So what I mean by competence-based targets is my targets are more around positioning myself to enter into multiple, industry streams. So, of course, I'm being prepared for an academic position, and that's the plan A. That's the ideal. Doing the conferences, the work with my supervisor, she's invested a time and a lot of work in me to become an assistant professor, to be an academic in a business school, and I would continue to follow that dream and work towards that. But since I'm working in the fashion industry, and she's saying something about Naomi Campbell, I also want to contribute to the industry, to the infrastructure of the industry, to contribute to conversations around luxury brand, the business of fashion, how brands, make strategies, and how they dictate, different audience performance within, the industry. And so I want to be able to walk into a fashion brand and be able to provide the kind of advice and tap into their learning opportunities. And then the third is I'm also looking at an industry career in management consulting, and so that requires understanding cases, developing my quantitative skills and all that. So it's one thing to say I have plans for the future, and then when we get to the next 2-3 years, you only have one offer from one career path. But these are my competence-based targets. So when I get to the 4th, 50 of my PhD, and I'm really ready to narrow down into one part, I'm competent enough to go into any of these three pathways. What about you, Seun? Besides tormenting me, what else do you?
That's a side hustle. I am a I can put multifaceted babe is what I am. I honestly don't know, and as a third year PhD student, it's starting to not worry me. I think it's the thing of I think there's a lot of opportunities that I can really shove myself into, but it's kind of thinking about where I want to focus my energy. So I guess something I should have mentioned earlier to one of the previous questions in regards to what I do outside of my research. Something I'm really passionate about is kind of sharing my experience as a black girl in science, as a black woman at Cambridge doing research at the forefront of the sciences. So that's something that's I'm really passionate about, and kind of engaging with students who look like me, who want to be in the space that I am fortunate, that's not the right word to use, that I am meant to be in. So I think that's something that I would want to explore post PhD. The thought of like staying in academia is tempting, but it's not like up there. I'm considering potentially also moving into industry, and that was actually one of the reasons why I chose the funding or the PhD program that I'm on. I'm funded by AstraZeneca, so I'm hoping that at some point in hopefully my third year I can do like a placement with them to see what it would look like to be in industry. So I think I'm at the point where there are several options that I can again, similar to you, kind of tap into. And there's some skill sets outside of just academic skill sets that I want to build up. So again, with this passion project, Seun and Science, on different platforms, it allows me to communicate with people. It allows me to build more creative skills, like editing and like all that kind of stuff that I think would put me in a position where I can kind of just jump into anything. Kind of going back to like my academic scopes as well. My project is a huge project that is across 3 different labs, and it's allowing me to build a different set of niche skills that then doesn't become just niche to one particular thing, but I can broaden it up. So I think for me, when it comes to like what am I gonna do next, I'm like, I don't know, because there's so many things that I could do. So I just need to like, I guess, just sit down and really think about what that would look like. Although for the longest time I've been saying though that what I want to do doesn't exist yet, and I have to kind of think about putting that into motion, because I don't want to just do one thing. I want to do multiple things. I think that's the problem. Not the problem. That's the challenge that I have, and I need to kind of bring into.
That's the magic of Seun, not the challenge. A multifaceted Seun. That's the magic.
Yes, exactly that. Yo, good luck with editing. What you gonna get? Yeah. I can't even breathe.
Fair enough. No, I couldn't help it. She mentioned like 15 careers, and then she's like, it hasn't been created yet.
No,
and then she said it's a challenge. It's a magic. It's nice.
But genuinely, I think that is the thing. 'Cause, like, I don't want to just do one thing.
Okay.
Right? I want to do several things all at the same time. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Well, for anyone applying into Cambridge, I think the desire to apply into Cambridge already makes you feel there's an anxiety that comes with it sometimes, because I think you would crave to be in an institution like this. It's going to be one you would dream about, when you hear about Oxbridge, and sometimes it might make you feel like you're not good enough at that stage. So if you're applying to Cambridge, I think I want you to understand that Cambridge doesn't bite. It's not a matter of coming here to prove your competence. I think it's a matter of understanding that this is a platform, a stepping stone for your dreams, and so being able to put your dreams in a very comprehensive and captivating way in your personal statement, sharing with them how it started, how it emerged, and what you want to use your Cambridge experience for. Capturing that in your personal statement is essential, especially for coming in here. But when you also get in here, it's also about harnessing and utilizing all the resources available to you, because they were created and they were made for you. And if you feel like they're not enough, like Seun said, create your own space. I know that the Cambridge Black Postgraduate Society, I've met some of the some of the founders, and they are the most interesting people. And they sat down one day, I'm sure they sat down one day and they were thinking, let's create a space for Black postgraduate students and students that come from diverse cultures. And so Cambridge offers the opportunity to create your own space here, to make your statement, to represent both your creative and cultural identity. And so aside the academic goals and academic positioning it gives you, if you believe that you can really come here and create and make a difference in, you know, whatever challenge you see, then be bold enough to do it, because, you know, people like Seun that are making a difference are doing it because they see the need for that. And so capturing that before you come in, and coming here to stake your claim, to create your legacy and create a name for yourself should also be part of what you capture when you're applying to the institution. Academically, of course, you have to be one of the best where you're coming from, because Cambridge really only takes the best. But ultimately, it's also about selling the part of you that can inspire not just one, two, but a generation of students here and those who would come afterwards. So we're looking forward to seeing you, and before my PhD is over, we're looking forward to enjoying the gift of your presence, like I do with Seun.
That was so beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. What about you?
So I think I would definitely agree with what you've meant. What you said is, yes, applying to Cambridge might seem intimidating, but the only you know is when you don't apply. And I think just the fact that you are going to apply is a huge step. In addition to, of course, feeling like you are one of the best in the field when you apply, also know that with the interview process, it's a two-way street, right? Like, you are also interviewing the university. There have been really great people who would have interviewed for this position that probably decided not to come here because it's not the most ideal place for them. And just the fact that you are applying is already kudos to your shoulder and stuff like that. I mean, for me, when I applied twice before I got into Cambridge. So there's a perseverance that comes with that. And I think also just remember that you're not an island. No man is an island. I think with a lot of the progression that we're making, especially in the current age of technology and in society, it really is a collective effort. And I see this day to day in even the research that I do. I'm in part of different labs, and it's collaboration from those labs that has, like, you know, birthed my project. And I go with that mentality with other things that I do when it comes to things outside of research. Okay, how can I collaborate with people? How can we kind of push different disciplines into one that really then catalyzes progression? So I think that would be the other thing to say is, when you do get here, really be conscious and be eager to interact with your fellow students, people that look like you, people that don't look like you, because that's where you learn the most. And I think, yeah, exposing yourself to different things is where you start to think more creatively, and that can be so impactful for you as an individual, in a personal developmental way, but also for the research that you're doing. And I guess one last thing that I would advise, and that I always remind myself, is I'm here to do a PhD, and that really is always the priority for me. And because I don't want to get to a situation where I'm come and then you get lost in the source and you lose focus of why you're here and you fail at that. So I think, in addition to being super engaged and super involved, just know what your goal is, because, as you mentioned, it's a stepping stone for your future and you don't want to fumble that. So yeah, we're looking forward to having you. It's be great. Do you have any? My
Instagram, TFA _Nathan Sass, the fashionable academic. Yeah, what about you?
So mine is Seun in Science, SEUN in Science, on basically all platforms. On YouTube, on TikTok, on Insta, and on Twitter. Just a heads up, I'm a bit unhinged on TikTok, so don't be alarmed.
A bit.
Good luck to him. I am taking all the bullets.
have waited for this. I have waited for this moment to capture it all on camera.
Oh my god.
You know, you do it every time to me. I've been
No, I
waiting
don't.
for a